Well, I'm here at the intersection of Westfield Road and Borton Landing Road, Moorestown Township, New Jersey. And this is a video for informational purposes for Town Council, Department of Public Works, and any other interested parties for information to have a real world documentary, I guess, of the condition of these footpaths, multi-use paths that are throughout the township here. So looking to the left is Westfield Road. There is no path of any kind between Centerton and Westfield Road. There really should be. Heading right up there is the intersection of Centerton and Westfield, and that connects to the Centerton Square Shopping Center. It would be amazing to have a bicycle and pedestrian connection to that infrastructure up there, but there's not. But that is not the point of this video. We're going to make a right here onto Westfield Road, where the path begins on Westfield Road from Borton Landing. Here's the first crossing here, 300 feet ahead sign for bicycles and pedestrians, warning motorists that bicycles and pedestrians are crossing the road and to give them the right of way. This is not where I am crossing. This takes you to a different neighborhood. But to continue on here, the path turns into this very narrow sidewalk. It is about as narrow as a sidewalk can get. It is in very good condition. However, if another bicycle or even another pedestrian was coming the other direction, you'd have to go by each other very tightly. This would be a great place to widen this, but again, I'm thankful that there's something here. So, continuing on down Westfield Road on the narrow sidewalk, and I'm going to keep this as steady as I can. It's in my chest pocket. So this bicycle I'm on is pretty steady, so it shouldn't be bad. So here, just approaching Michael Court is the pedestrian and bicycle crossing warning sign. Here's a pedestrian trying to cross. Look, there's school buses going by. The school buses don't stop. Here come two more cars. He clearly wants to cross the street. No one's stopping. He's continuing on. Now he has to run across the street while nobody slows down. So he just had to run across. To be fair, it looks like he's jogging for exercise, so let's not be dramatic. So here I go, out into the intersection. And I try to be a bit aggressive with it just so that motorists see me. So he slowed down because nobody was coming the other way. Nobody was coming the other way, so I put my bicycle in the middle of the road. And the other guy slowed down, probably because he was afraid he'd actually hit me if I went in front of him. Most people are not willing to do that. Most people will get stuck standing there for God knows how long. You can see the road across from me here at Westfield, how busy it is with traffic. Up ahead on the right is the dog park that everyone loves so much. I'm also a fan, that wasn't sarcasm. And you'll see the pedestrian safety crossing lights that were installed that are actuated by a button to give cars a red light. 100% of the time when I stop and push that button to cross, traffic stops in both directions at the red light and I can safely and calmly cross the street. We desperately need one of these crossing light devices at all of the locations on Westfield and Hartford Road where our multi-use paths cross the street. my other video, you'll see 2 locations on Hartford Road where there's no crosswalk or safety devices of any kind. It's very dangerous to cross the road where the path ends. So we're going by these fields here. Path is in relatively good shape up to this point. Up ahead though, take note here of how wide the path is. Once we get up to this residential section here, through most of it, 50%, and a lot of places more than 50% of the path has been retaken by nature. I'll go slowly through here to see it. So this, you see the path basically disappears over 50% of it. You can see the fence line to the left of where it was supposed to be. All these plants are growing. They're growing right out of the sidewalk on the path. Nature is slowly reclaiming this multi-use path here on Westfield Road. There's a giant branch sticking out of this one. I have to dodge my head to avoid hitting that. And again, just continuing to note, over 50% of this paved path is completely overtaken by brush, and nature has not been maintained in a long time. Up ahead here, there's a fallen tree completely blocking the path. Already a footpath is being worn into the dirt and grass here to go around it. And no one really seems to own this property here coming up to us. But now at these fences, there are homes on the other side, but still on the other side of their crumbling fences at the rear of their property, you'll see the path is still at least 50%, in many places over 50%, overtaken by just brush, plants growing right out of the sidewalk path, years of leaves and seeds just piled up, creating soil. It really needs to be cleaned up and maintained. I know it wasn't cheap and isn't cheap to replace these paths, but they're gonna get completely destroyed by nature, by nobody taking care of them and maintaining them. So that's the major section on Westfield. That's a real issue threatening the even continued existence of this path on Westfield Road. On we go. Opened up wide again. This property owner maintains their property behind the fence line, but then here's another one. Over 50% of the path is taken over by large mature trees and brush. And then back to another example. This homeowner clearly mulched and takes care of their property. And then here are the beginnings right here of more plants taking over. But we're in relatively good shape again now. And up ahead here, you got more layers of leaves and plants taking over. Once we get past that section, it opens up wide again and everything's pretty maintained. These trees were an issue recently, but looks like they have been recently trimmed by somebody so that I'm not running my head into them. This tree up here, I'm about to go under. I have to duck my head to keep from getting knocked off my bike. There we go. But yeah, it looks like someone finally did trim those trees, thankfully. Now we're coming up to Windsock Way, the entrance to Sandwick Glen. And over here we have a senior care facility on the right hand side. There's a crosswalk there. Paint's basically wearing away to nothing. There's no pedestrian warning signs for motorists that someone might cross the street here. And God forbid there's any senior citizens that want to come out and take a walk and try to cross the street here to use these paths. I'm sure it's really scary for them to try to walk slowly across the street with these vehicles very rarely stopping for people that are trying to cross. On we go. Up ahead here you can see some large evergreen trees that are taking over the usable area on the path. They have not been trimmed back. This is lots of growth. This didn't happen overnight. These trees need to be trimmed back. This tree here I have to duck way down to keep from getting clotheslined off my bike. And here we go down the hill, still on Westfield, obviously. And then up ahead here, the path just abruptly ends. It stops, it goes nowhere, no destination. Right here at this bridge. Now, just ahead from this location is the intersection of Bridgeboro Road and Westfield Road, which everyone's familiar with. Flying Feather Farm is there, a place I love to frequent and shop at. Would love to ride my bike there on these paths and pick up some produce, get some exercise. Would love to bring my kids down and let them bike with me to shop and have a nice day out, but there's no way in the world I'm bringing my young kids on bicycle to go across this bridge on Westfield to try to get the Flying Feather. But, I mean, this path doesn't even exist here, so I know how difficult it is to get these new paths put in. So the main issue here on Westfield, to recap, is that long stretch between the dog park and in the fields and down here close to Bridgeboro, where all the brush and nature is overtaking the path. The plants are literally growing out of the path, breaking it and crumbling it to pieces due to years of neglect. It really needs to be cleaned up or we're going to lose it completely and take steps back. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this. I really hope there's some way to get funding for these pedestrian crossing devices that we really need out here. So thanks again. Thanks for bearing with me.